In 1976, a six-part television epic turned an Indian actor into a weekly obsession across large parts of Europe. That show was Sandokan, and the actor was Kabir Bedi.
Sandokan is the hero in each one of us.
The story of how a European adaptation of adventure novels made an Indian performer a transnational star is the clearest proof that Kabir Bedi's international renown, rooted in television reach, cultural penetration, and longevity, deserves to be treated as a different kind of global stardom than the later Bollywood export model. Emilio Salgari's swashbuckling novels provided the source material for a television event directed by Sergio Solima and produced as an Italian-French-West German co-production. The 6 episodes of the series aired in Italy on Rete 1 channel between January and February 1976. Sandokan's story is about a Bornean prince whose family is massacred and the throne is stolen by the East India Company. He becomes the fearsome Tiger of Malaysia, leading the pirates of Montparnasse Island in relentless revenge attacks against colonial forces. With his loyal Portuguese friend Yanez, he wages a daring guerrilla war on the seas of Southeast Asia. During his adventures, he falls deeply in love with Mariana, the Pearl of Labuan, niece of a British lord. Despite tragic losses and epic battles, Sandokan embodies courage, honor, and unyielding resistance against imperial oppression. The show was instantly described by the critics and viewers as one of the most important television dramas in the history of Italian TV. The production values, the choice of material, and the pan-European backing meant that this was not a small export. It was designed to travel, because the series was a European co-production and was shot in English before being dubbed for different markets. It could be distributed widely and dubbed into local languages. That distribution model, high production values, co-production partners in several countries, and dubbing helped the lead actor's image reach millions of viewers repeatedly over several weeks, rather than relying on a single theatrical release. Contemporary and retrospective accounts underline that Sandokan occupied a place in Europe's popular imagination very differently from a one-off foreign film. Unlike a supporting appearance or a cameo, the role of Sandokan placed Kabir Bedi squarely at the center of the narrative as the romantic, heroic lead. The weekly serialized format created habitual viewership. Viewers tuned in episode after episode. They developed attachments to characters and debated them in cafes, magazines, and on the radio, especially the children and teenagers. In an era before streaming, when national broadcasters commanded concentrated audiences, a hit series generated cultural momentum that film releases or sporadic foreign appearances rarely could. Retrospectives and interviews with Kabir Bedi emphasize that the show's success in Italy and neighboring countries produced domestic celebrity effects, magazine features, publicity tours, and sustained public interest that outstripped most foreign appearances by non-European actors at the time. This is not to say Sandokan was merely a temporary vogue. The series produced spin-offs and later revivals, and Kabir Bedi returned to the character in subsequent productions decades later. That persistence, reruns, sequels, and periodic returns cemented the association between actor and role in the public mind across generations and countries. Most of the strongest claims about Sandokan's reach come from television history and retrospective reporting rather than neat global box office tables. Credible contemporary metrics for 1970s European TV are uneven, but archival records and press coverage identify Sandokan as a primetime hit on RAI and as a popular export across the continent. The important, verifiable markers are that it was a high-profile RAI drama produced with European partners, it was 6 episodes designed for weekly prime time, and subsequent spin-offs and references in film culture track its lasting cultural footprint. Kabir Bedi's later casting in the James Bond film Octopussy as Govinda provided a different but complementary kind of international visibility, a part in a major Hollywood franchise that circulates globally in cinemas and later on television and home video. That credit signaled that his profile was not limited to a single market, and that casting directors saw him as able to anchor villainous or memorable supporting roles in global cinema. To understand why Sandokan's impact was exceptional, the media environment must be stressed. In the 1970s, television networks still controlled what hundreds of millions watched. There was no YouTube, no social media buzz, no OTT catalog algorithms to resurface performances. In that concentrated environment, a weekly signal, especially one delivered in primetime on national television, could create a pan-European cultural moment. An Indian actor delivering a charismatic lead performance in that slot was rare and therefore amplified. Contemporary reports and later reflections from the European press and Spanish and Italian cultural writers recall Sandokan as a phenomenon that lodged itself in popular memory. Representation matters too. European programming of that era seldom placed non-European actors at the center of mainstream serialized adventure narratives. Sandokan's anti-imperial romantic pirate hero offered a non-European face of heroism that challenged, in popular form, prevailing casting expectations. That symbolic aspect of an Indian actor, embodied as a charismatic lead in a European hit, added cultural weight to the purely numeric measure of viewers. The title invites a comparison with modern Bollywood superstars. That comparison only works if the differences in platform, distribution, and audience are acknowledged. Contemporary stars such as Shah Rukh Khan, noted here purely to distinguish models, have global followings built on decades of cinema releases, diasporic fan bases, film festival circuits, and social media. Their fame is often measured in followers, streaming numbers, and box office. Kabir Bedi's fame, by contrast, grew through repeated exposure in primetime foreign television markets and periodic Hollywood casting. The metrics differ, but the claim being advanced is not that his total fame exceeded every modern star on every metric. Rather, it is that Kabir Bedi achieved a kind of international stardom that was historically unusual for an Indian actor, and that, in its own terms, made him among the earliest true transnational faces from India. A responsible treatment must admit limitations. Sandokan was an Italian production drawing on an Italian literary tradition. The success of the series depended on many Italian creative decisions and distribution networks. Furthermore, global fame is multidimensional. Box office, press coverage, festival laurels, and social visibility all count. The argument here is precise. In the specific category of pre-digital, European primetime visibility carried by a long-running hit, Kabir Bedi's status stands out. Where data gaps exist, exact pan-European audience figures and detailed archival ratings for all market claims are qualified and anchored to the best available documentation. Sandokan's case prefigures modern cross-border casting and suggests that star power can be built in ways that do not rely on a single national film industry. In a streaming era that prizes international co-productions and cross-cultural leads, Sandokan offers a useful historical precedent. It shows that when production, distribution, and role converge, an actor from outside the dominant production culture can become a mass presence in households and memories across borders. That is the core reason Kabir Bedi's Sandokan remains an instructive and newsworthy example for contemporary conversations about representation and transnational stardom. Kabir Bedi's fame was not merely a credit on a resume. It was a media event that exploited television's concentrated power in the 1970s to make an Indian actor a recurring, celebrated presence in European popular culture. Measured against the right criteria, lead role, primetime serialization, pan-European distribution, and cultural persistence. His international star status is real and historically meaningful. Later, Bollywood exports used different mechanisms to reach the world. Kabir Bedi reached Europe in a manner that was exceptional for its time. Here, one must recognize the talent and charisma of the actor whose performance became a cultural milestone in a completely different culture. He played a villain in one of the James Bond films, but as Sandokan, he became a cultural figure comparable to James Bond himself. That's it from the ScreenLight for today. Don't forget to like this video and tell us about your Sandokan experience. Want to know more of these incredible facts? Then subscribe to the ScreenLight. See you tomorrow.